The administration said in a letter that the recall includes 231,942 vehicles. The vehicles had received replacement front passenger airbag inflators under a previous recall. NHTSA said that an incorrectly installed inflator may not properly inflate the passenger airbag, increasing the risk of injury during a crash. Keith Peters reporting.
As President Biden seeks re-election, one poll indicates that likely American voters are taking his age into consideration. According to the latest Rasmussen Report survey, most consider the 80-year-old incumbent too old. In fact, that number is 73% of likely U.S. voters who feel that way. More on these stories at srnnews.com.
The following program is sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Get ready with your legal questions and call Patrick now. 877-943-9673. Again, that's 877-943-9673. The law office is open. And now your host, Patrick Smith.
Oh, hi there, and welcome to another edition of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. As you can guess by the music, we are going to have a very, very special theme today. We are going to be talking about baseball. So we're actually going to be discussing the common law origins of the infield fly rule as the two relate in procedure and process, pointing out some of the key similarities and differences. But of course, our main thing, like Joe Weaver says here at Faith Talk, the main thing is to keep the main thing, and that is answering your legal questions. That number, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. With me in studio, Max the intern, producer Yamiko in the booth, and Brian the call screener standing by to screen your call. So we're looking forward to talking to you today. That number, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're live and local and happy to help any way that we can. You can also email your question, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. So email your questions or give us a call. We'd love to talk to you on the air. 877-943-9673. Your question can be on any legal topic at all. And every Saturday morning, this is what we do. We offer you an hour of free legal advice. So give us a call and we'll do the very best that we can to assist you this week. A legal issue may have arisen for you or a family member throughout the week, and you just need someone to point you in the right direction. That's what we're here for, to minister to you. 877-943-9673. According to the Pennsylvania Law Review, there is a strong connection between the common law and the origins of the infield fly rule. So the article starts by saying the infield fly rule is neither a rule of law nor one of equity. It is a rule of baseball, and it's been around since the 1890s. Now, for those of you not familiar with baseball, I appreciate that. Not everyone is into sportsing and counting the points and things of that nature, and I recognize that. So a little background for those of you not baseball savvy. An infield fly is a fair ball, not including a line drive, which can be caught by an infielder with ordinary effort. So the short version is this. Infield fly is a situation where there are less than two outs and there's at least one runner on base and the ball is popped up in the air, but it's not going to leave the infield. It's infield fly rule. The runner is automatically, or the batter is automatically called out. Why, would you ask? Well, because of something that lots of baseball players try to do with trickery and deking and things of that nature. Basically, it's avoiding a situation where you have a very slow runner at first base, so you intentionally drop the baseball in an attempt to get a double play. So the object of subterfuge is what we're targeting with the infield fly rule. So the article goes on to say, although referred to as rules, both officially and in common parlance, if the analogy between the conduct governing strictures of baseball and jurisprudential entity on the order of a nation state is to be maintained, the rules of baseball should be considered to have the force, effect, and legitimacy of the statutes of a nation state. The analogy would continue to this end by giving the ground rules of a particular baseball park the same status as a judge-made rules of procedure of a particular court. So what the author is doing in this particular Pennsylvania Law Review article is saying, let's track the development of the infield fly rule, and let's track how common law works, how common law develops. And essentially, you find out that there are 4 key elements to this development of common law and the development of the infield fly rule. But the origin was the need for this rule when baseball really shifted. And the article says that as baseball grew, the influence of values that saw winning rather than exercise as the purpose of the game. Can you imagine today if we played professional baseball just for the exercise and you didn't keep score? I mean, that would be a completely different game. Victory was to be pursued by any means, according to the article, possible within the language of the rules, regardless of whether the tactic violated the spirit of the rules. And of course, baseball probably more than any other sport has those unwritten rules about what to do and not to do. The written rules had to be made more and more specific in order to preserve the spirit of the game. So here we see the need, and this is probably the biggest connection between the infield fly rule and the common law, is the fact that both have their origin in a need for the rule. And as the rule developed, it was essentially 4 factors that led to the development of the common law infield fly rule as we know it. So first, it was to preserve sportsmanship. So we had this goal. In a world where the game is being played to win, now we have to hold the player to a certain level of conduct. And then the next 2 factors, it's basically a code to enforce that conduct. And then you had some way to deviate from that code, because not every code needs to be applied with a draconian fashion. And sometimes the application needs an exception. So in law, we have something called actions in equity for things of that, and that's under common law. In baseball, it's called umpire discretion, where the umpire may want to take another look. The umpires may want to chat, change their mind on a call. In other words, they want to have a more full discussion about the application of a rule to a particular circumstance. Now, last but not least was the incremental development of the infield fly rule. It didn't happen overnight. It was one of those things that took years in its evolution and had precursors. Indeed, there was what they called the trap ball rule first, and that ultimately becomes the infield fly rule. But the ultimate point of the article was landing the plane on the fact that the development process in the common law and the development of the infield fly rule, very similar. So the article wraps up by saying adjustment of the law, not its form, was the goal of the legislative process. The rules of baseball and of Anglo-American jurisprudence are thus to be contrasted with the continental system of complete codes designed to remedy society's ills with a single stroke of the legislative brush. The dynamics of the common law and the development of one of the most important technical rules of baseball, although on the surface completely different in outlook and philosophy, share significant elements. Both have been essentially conservative, changing only as often as need for change is perceived, and then only to the extent necessary to remove the need for further change. Although problems are solved very slowly when this attitude prevails, the solutions that are adopted do not create many new difficulties. If the process reaps few rewards, it also runs few risks. So, ladies and gentlemen, Pennsylvania Law Review, connecting the infield fly rule and the common law development process. 877-943-9673. You give us a call now. Maybe you have a question about common law. Maybe you have a question regarding family law, estate planning, probate. We'll be happy to help you any way we can. 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. You can also email your question directly to me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. And speaking of attorneypatricksmith.com, while the calls are getting queued up, I do want to encourage you to visit the website. Always send me your feedback. If you've played around on the website and you've seen it and you have a thought or something you'd like us to add or edit or something you love, let us know. We're always trying to make the website more user-friendly and more of a resource for you out there as a listener. So visit attorneypatricksmith.com. You can check out the radio archive section. You can also, that's your direct link to listen live to the show when we're on the air. So check that out at attorneypatricksmith.com. And you can give us a call now, 877-943-9673. That's your toll-free number, 877-943-9673. Or you can email me, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. All right. So, folks, I gave Max the intern an assignment this week. I said, pick a legal topic. Is that true, Max?
Yes, you did.
All right. Now, do I have any idea what your legal topic is?
No idea whatsoever.
All right. So we agree. I'm going in blind. Max, your legal topic you wanted to discuss on the show today, go.
Artificial intelligence and how it may or may not impact the legal profession.
Okay.
So kind of the opposite as what you were speaking about, which is, in terms of how historically changes in the legal profession have been conservative and incremental. And with AI coming out, I'm curious as to especially what you think in terms of it's revolutionary, how it will impact the legal profession in terms of how it will be adopted, the benefits, the potential pitfalls, and things of that nature.
I guess my initial response to that, it's a great topic, by the way. Way to be topical. Well done, Max. I think we already have it. And we did a segment on the show a couple of weeks ago where we were talking specifically about pro forma documents. And I think that's probably the earliest version of AI, if you will, in the legal world, is when you have pro forma templates that are auto-generated by a computer, basically. And, you have all that disclaimer language about we're not attorneys, we're not a law firm, we make documents. And I had an example of that come into the office. I actually had made a note during my show prep to discuss it today. So this dovetails wonderfully. The document was produced just fine. But when it went to be executed, it was misexecuted by the family. It wasn't signed properly. So here's a family thinking they have a legal document in place, but because no one was there to oversee the execution, wound up not having an efficient document in place that they thought they had. So I think that's my concern, at least from my perspective as an estate plan drafter in the AI. I'm sure the machine can produce a document. My questions would be, number one, about that execution, and then number two, about the customization. And, we see, and I made the point about, I don't think estate planning is the thing you should charge by the pound for. I think it's the sort of situation where it needs to be customized to that particular family. So I guess my second concern would be how well the AI would customize. I think it would do better at that part. Actually, based on the AI that I've seen out there, I think it would do well customizing the document to that particular family's needs. I don't think it would have the personal touch. And I think that at the end of the day, it's a situation where when your loved ones are going to be calling to find out what to do in light of someone's passing, I mean, do they want to get a robot on the end of the line, or do they want to have a person on the end of the line? So it's kind of the experience you step up. But the execution, I can't get past that. I think you need an attorney in that room overseeing the execution to make sure the documents are not only drafted, but executed properly. So where do you see AI going, Max?
So I actually agree with everything you just said. And one of the things that I thought was a good point that I read in a law review article was that there are one of them is, I guess, going to be the predominant one, projected to be the predominant one. But there's an artificial intelligence company that is going to be targeting attorneys directly. And so rather than try to cut out attorneys, the objective would be to assist them so that they can be more efficient, and then aid them with creating the drafts of things so that they can then go through and make sure that everything is accurate and still have that kind of personal relationship with the client. So I think it all kind of comes down to how it's incorporated. I definitely don't think that it would be possible or beneficial to replace an attorney, but I think that if used properly and if the attorneys are trained to use it properly, I think it could actually not only be beneficial to the attorney, but also the client.
Well, I couldn't agree more with that. I think if attorneys find a way to weaponize AI basically and use it as a way to, instead of drafting a particular document in 3 or 4 hours, you can draft it in 20 minutes. Now, presuming the level of efficiency is the same, and where I really think this might help, and if there's litigators out there listening who are currently using that technology, call in. We'd love to hear your thoughts. But my initial thought is that for people drafting in litigation world, where you have memoranda of law that can be hundreds of pages, or maybe an amicus brief, something of that nature, where normally it would take weeks to draft something like that, and AI could assist with the citations and things of that nature. A lot of the time consuming stuff in that drafting is the nitpicky stuff. That's the stuff AI can just burn through. So maybe you have a question about AI or any other legal question. 877-943-9673. I'm your local Central Florida attorney, Patrick Smith. With me in studio, Max the intern. 877-943-9673. Way to knock it out of the park, Max. I just needed to get in another baseball pun. All right, we're going to go to Venice, and we're going to talk to Patrick. Patrick, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How are you today?
How you doing, Patrick? I'm doing well.
I'm great.
My question is this. I was wondering if I had any recourse. I was doing a legal repossession of a roll-off dumpster. When I was doing the repossession, the neighbors came out and they detained me. They literally blocked me in, and I couldn't go anywhere and wouldn't let me go. Then they called the police on me. The police showed up. The first thing the officer said to me is that when the gentleman called 911, they told him not to block me in. And he blocked me in.
Yeah, that's false imprisonment. You can't do that.
And then the police, they took my ID, and they all kept in there for 2 hours, finding out that what I was doing is completely legal. So is there any recourse for me against the guy who called 911 or anything?
I mean, you can try to press charges for the false imprisonment. I mean, I think if you have elements of that, I mean, preserve the call, because it sounds like there's evidence in that call. If 911 is telling them, hey, stop blocking him in, I mean, that's the evidence you're looking for. Clearly, they must have been doing that. Do you have video on your phone or something of that nature?
I didn't take any video. It was a pretty stressful situation, but the officers all had body cams. And the 911 operator, I'm sure there's a tape on that, because they told us, please don't block him in, and they went right against it, blocked me in, and it wasn't a good situation.
And you're down in Sarasota County?
Yeah.
So I would reach out to the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, to their records division, public records division, and you've got an incident report or incident report number?
I got to get that. You know what? I work 15-hour days, and this is my first day off, and I heard your show. And first time I ever called a show in my life.
Well, I appreciate you calling, and I appreciate being your first show you've called, Patrick. So congratulations on that. And I think that's the thing. Reach out to the sheriff's office, ask for a copy of the report. They're probably going to have an incident number at this case. At this point, I don't think they'll have a case number unless charges are being filed. And I would say request the body cam footage. And you can also get a copy of the 911 call as well under FOIA. That's the Freedom of Information Act. And I think you take a look at it and you decide whether you want to pursue this criminally or civilly or both. And I have attorneys who work in both of those fields, on the criminal side and on the civil litigation side, who will be happy to chat with you and kind of tell you which option is probably the best option and what the likelihood of a positive outcome for Patrick is. Now, you said you were repossessing a trash can?
No, it was a roll-off dumpster. You know, the huge dumpsters they put like in front of your house and load with junk.
And this is what you do for a living? You repossess dumpsters?
Well, no, I actually drive a roll-off truck, but we had a dumpster which nobody paid for 3 months, and they refused to pay. So legally, I can go get my dumpster, and I can leave whatever's in the dumpster right in the driveway. That's the law. And that's what the officers found out after they did many phone calls, that I was legal. I was doing a lawful repossession, and what I was doing was completely legal. And they tied me up for hours.
Yeah, and time is money, but it does take them time to, because in the officer's defense, they don't know what they're walking into. So they just have to confirm that no crime's been committed. And if it is, in fact, a civil matter, I mean, what was their attitude towards you? It sounds, Patrick, like you were very patient with them.
Yeah, they were really good towards me, to tell you the truth. They've never experienced this before either, a repo of a dumpster, you know. So they didn't know. They made calls to the corporal, their sergeants, and they eventually went to the agricultural guy, which instantly said no. It's in every contract of a dumpster company. If you don't pay, we leave the garbage there and go.
How many dumpster puns were made during this investigation? My over-under would be like 6 on this.
What's that, sir?
I said, how many dumpster puns were made during the investigation by the deputies?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get that again.
No, I'm just saying, I'm wondering how many times they said things like, well, we're sorry you're down in the dumps today with this, or, it's such a garbage
Well,
situation.
I gotta say they were very good. The officers are very good. The the one of the men that were detaining me ran up on me. He was quite large and in my face, and I told him to get out of my face, and he told me, I'm going to get you arrested. I mean, it was pretty vile from their part, but the officers were great. They really were.
Well, it sounds like you got some good. And was it Sarasota PD or was it Sarasota County Deputy Sheriff?
Well, to tell you the truth, I guess it was the sheriff. It was down in Englewood where it happened.
Okay.
So it was the sheriff's department. And like I said, I don't know why they took my license and my information and detained me too.
It was just standard procedure during an investigation. They're just checking everyone out. So, I mean, that's SOP in those. How is Englewood doing? I know they were still in the middle of some of the rebuild after Ian. How's it looking down there?
Yeah, it's starting to look a little better, but I spent a lot of time going to Englewood, Port Charlotte, you name it, and it's still, everything I do is I follow around just storm damage, roofing, everything else, so it's still pretty tore up as far as I'm concerned. I go down to Fort Myers, and it looks like it's wrecked. Fort Myers Beach is still wrecked. I mean, it's still still rough down there.
Yeah, well, I was talking to a neighbor last night when I was saying, it's easy for the media cycle to mention Ian and the victims for a couple of weeks at the most, and then you sort of forget about the fact that these neighbors and friends are still rebuilding down there. So thanks for the updated report. And by the way, if you ever need to do any fishing down in Venice, one of my very dear family friends, Captain Steve Bonnell, runs the best fishing charter there out of Venice. So if you ever need to hook up with that, Patrick, let us know.
Okay, I really appreciate it, Patrick. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great Saturday. Thanks for calling. You did a great job on your first call, Patrick.
Yeah, I'm pretty nervous, but you have a good weekend. Thank
you too. Bye-bye. All righty, 877-943-9673. We're live and local. It's just as easy as Patrick made it seem. You call in, ask your question. That was a first-timer, folks, and he did great. So you can call back if you're a regular customer to the show and you express a thought on AI, maybe the common law origins of the infield fly rule. I thought the article was extremely interesting. I at first had my doubts. I said, this is a strained analysis at best, tethering infield fly rule to common law. But as the tracking of the infield fly rule developed, definitely saw more of, I was surprised at how much of a connection there was in that process. And I think that if we track a lot of rules under our statutes, we sort of can connect them to common law. So it was interesting to see something that is not codified in any statute, but it's a sports rule also having origins in the common law. So 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're live and local. You can also email your question, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. Patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. Give us a call now, live and local. Wanted to follow up to a segment we did last week. And last week's show, for those of you who were with us, was a show dedicated to what to do when a loved one dies. And we walked you through the process of contacting the funeral home, securing death certificates, gathering asset, dead information, reaching out to the attorney and the accountant. Going to pick up that conversation with the attorney. Now, commonly, when you approach an attorney after a loved one has passed away, you're beginning a process known as probate, and a lot of misunderstanding out there. So just going to take a segment of the show and walk you through what the probate process looks like. Step one, of course, is hiring the attorney. So you want to hire the attorney. I recommend using a written fee agreement with your attorney so everyone's clear how the attorney is getting paid, what the attorney is getting paid, and there's no doubt or surprise at the end of the case. The first thing the attorney will do is prepare a petition. The petition will ask the court to do some type of probate, a summary for those estates of less than $75,000 outside of any exemptions, and then a formal probate for any estate of greater than $75,000. In a formal case, there's going to be the requirement to file an inventory within 60 days of you being appointed personal representative of the estate. You'll also, if it's been less than 2 years since the date of death, be required to publish something called a notice to creditors. These are the ads you see in the section in the newspaper, the death notices they publish. Those run for a 90-day window. There's a DR 312, a statement regarding estate taxes and their applicability, a statement regarding creditors, which is basically telling the court you did a due diligence search to locate creditors. Then, of course, there's a final accounting, and then there's a petition for discharge, which is when you distribute and close the estate. All of that in a typical scenario can take anywhere from 6 to 14 months, and total in fees and attorney's fees, court cost, personal representative's fees, potential creditor claims, somewhere in that 3 to 10% range, but it varies dramatically. If you just heard that and you said, wow, I don't want my family to go through that, oftentimes creating a simple living revocable trust can bypass that entire process. But when I'm being hired for a new probate, I take the client through that process and I tell them, look, I don't expect you to memorize that process, but I like them to know the whole process out of the gate. That way there's less unknowns in their mind. Because what I find is that the human brain, when it doesn't know something or it doesn't understand something, it fires off negative thoughts, oftentimes producing anxiety. So if at least they have a snapshot of the entire process, it typically lowers the client anxiety. And then we remind the client, we'll break it up for you in digestible chunks as we sort of move through that process. But for those of you out there creating plans, you may want to consider a simple trust to eliminate that probate process for your family. And at my office, the simple trust package is $695 for all non-taxable estates. I had someone call me and they said, my gosh, I'm so glad we called you. We got a quote somewhere else and it was thousands of dollars. And they said, why are you charging? Why is the other attorney charging more? I don't know. I can't speak to why other attorneys charge what they charge. I charge what I believe is a fair fee for creating a customized, simple, living revocable trust for you and your family. So that's the reason why we charge that flat fee of $695 for the trust. So give us a call today if you have a question on that probate process or a question about a trust. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. I'm your host, local attorney Patrick Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. You can also email your questions, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, next we're going to go to, is it George or Jorge in Pinellas? How do you pronounce it?
You can call me George. I'm in Manatee County, actually.
Manatee County. All right. On what station are you listening, George?
The Bone, 102.5, The Bone.
All right. We appreciate you listening. How can we help you today, George?
Yes, thank you. You're very kind. I appreciate the answering my call. I own a small business here in Bradenton, and we do floor restoration. And we did a job for a building in Sarasota downtown.
Yeah, just don't say which particular company, okay?
Okay, yeah, I won't. And anyway, to make it a little bit shorter, they never pay us. We spent like 24 hours doing the job. It looked great. Every time I try to call the owner, he keeps avoiding me, doesn't return my calls, doesn't return my texts. And I went to a local lawyer over here, but it's just a little bit over $4,000. And he told me that if he will represent me, probably would cost $5,000 or more, so it wasn't worth to go to court. So I'm trying to find out what's my best way to go, to collect my money or try to get a little bit of justice,
Well, it sounds to me like, given the amounts at issue, it may be a situation where you can do a small claims action yourself. If you just want a good second opinion on that, Attorney Scott Smothers, friend of the show, been on the show before. He's a civil litigator that I work with frequently, George, and I've known Scotty for 20 years. And talk to him, 3 or 4 times every week. So if you want, give me a call at the office on Monday. I'll put you in touch with Scotty, and you can kind of run him through the facts. He can give you a quote if you wanted him to jump in, and Scott will tell you real fast, if it's something you can represent yourself in a small claims action and you just need to get the packet, fill it out, go to a hearing, he'll walk you through that as well. So, George, I think you got other options to consider, and I think you did the right thing by seeking out a second opinion.
Okay, perfect. I really appreciate all the information, and I will get back in touch with you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, George. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, okay?
Thank you. Likewise.
All right. 877-943-9673. George hanging up opens up the phone line. So if you've been trying to get in, give us a call now. 877-943-9673 or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. Before we go to our next caller, for those of you in the Indian Rocks Beach area that were following with bated breath the development of the nicknamed STR bill pending before the state legislature, you will be happy to know that it is currently resting in peace, as it did not make it out of House. Our sources there in Tallahassee tell us that the House and the Senate basically could not come to an agreement on a version. The back and forth ultimately led to the bill dying in between those two chambers. It sort of stormed through committee, which I think made a lot of people nervous. But then, ultimately the House and the Senate have to agree on a version. Apparently, they were unable to do that. So no STR action, no short-term rental, new legislation coming down the pike from Tallahassee this session. Anyway, so 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're live. We're local. All right. Next, we are going to Bob from Palmetto. Bob, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
First of all, I listen to the show every single Sunday. I listen to 102.5 The Bone. It's just to talk about nothing, and I love it. But you talk about many things. You are an intelligent guy. I am too, I believe. I am a writer, published, and I have a problem. I do pro bono work. I try to take people out of society that should not be here. I look at the bad people. And so I got some bad contractors that are surrounding our new village. These are all high-end villages, homes. They are, for instance, we have a 2 World Series ring guy. That's my neighbor, John T-Bone Shelby. Anyway, the point is, on Sunday, the 26th of April, we had a west to east wind. All of us face west. We watched the sunset, but this time we watched as dust was inundated in everyone's pool, everyone's lanai. I had been working with the Manatee contract person. She was the senior engineer for this particular work, and Ripa was the. I guess I can't say that name correct.
No, don't please.
Okay, I'm sorry, but anyway, I've taken care of that from the standpoint of them complying with EPA law and OSHA laws. They are doing their best. But other contractors here, but they will not clean everyone's lawn or anyone's lanai. Our lanai are so bad. I have photos and pictures. I'm finishing up a letter to Governor DeSantis. I never write unless I write very, very on a very high basis. And so my question is, if someone trashes your yard and you know who that person is, do you have any legal right to take that person and determine and demand justice?
So I
know that person.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the two causes of action that jump to mind immediately are trespass and nuisance. Trespass, of course, being someone just invading your property. And then nuisance would be more of a, they're blaring loud music, or, they're putting chicken compost, next to your property line. You have to smell that all day. For those of you not familiar with chickens, they are disgusting creatures and they stink. They may give us eggs, but they come at a price. And at the end of the day, I think it's probably, if you're getting actual dust that's landing on the property, that's probably more of a trespass situation. And it might be worth exploring, but it's probably not the kind. I mean, listen, if you want to reach out to Ron and see what he wants to do, that's fine. If you get his attention and he gives you a response, call back in. I'd love to know what he has to say. But it's probably the kind of thing where you can send a letter and say, look, this is happening. We're put you on notice that this is happening. And then put the ball in their court, Bob. Say, look, we would like you guys to propose a solution to this. And we're going to give you 30 days or whatever makes you feel comfortable, 2 weeks, something like that from the date of this letter. Hit us back with your solution, because they may not be aware of it. They may not be aware this is happening. So you can just take that neighborly approach.
They have been aware of it for the past month and a half. I've been in contact with them. I also warned them about west to east winds. She's the senior contract engineer, has been in my house. The safety guy has I walked him up and down the lake and back of us to a dozen homes. He's taken photos. It is disgusting. I have one guy who has a pump that is seized up because of it. All of us are outdoors every single day attempting to try to clean that up. Now, Now that's been going on for months. I've sent letters in. I sent texts in. They will not answer me. The only company that did was a company that crossed the pond.
All right. So
Or
you've
lake.
got a paper trail, and I applaud that, Bob.
Yes,
And
I
also,
do.
by
Yes, I
the
do.
way, thank you for your kind words about the show at the top of your call.
Oh.
I sort of skipped over that, but thank you. That means a lot, Bob. I appreciate that. And I think that you've established the paper trail sort of as far as you can get it as a layperson. It's time to reach out to an attorney and have an attorney send a demand letter on your behalf, because that's going to get someone's attention. More than likely, ultimately, whomever the company is that you're sending the letter to, it's going to get that company's attorney's attention. And when the two attorneys start talking, that's when there's more likely to be some sort of evolution, is my prediction. So if you want to give me a call at the office, I'll give out the office number here as soon as we hang up, Bob, and you can jot them.
Absolutely, because I have several questions to ask you also. I do this for a living, just like I said. And I have a lot of evidence. I have photos. I was a federal investigator for 8 years. I ended my career as a full-bird colonel. I worked at the Pentagon. I worked for the appointee.
Which branch of the
Army.
service were you a full bird colonel?
Army.
My father was U.S. Army. He was with the 127 Wolfhounds, 25th Infantry, 1969 and 70, the first wave of invasion into Cambodia in May of 70. So, yep. Well, Bob, thank you for your service, and thank you for your fantastic call. I'll give out the office number. We'll look forward to talking to you next week, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I shall. I'm here with pencil and paper. Thank you so much.
All right, Bob. Have a great day. All righty. 877-943-9673. That's the studio line. So if you want to call in, Bob, hanging up does open up a line. I know lots of you trying to get in right now. 877-943-9673. The office line. If you want to give us a call at the office during the week, 877-754-6764. 877-754-6764. That is your live and local number to call into the office Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Anyone who answers will be happy to put you in touch with me. If I'm with a client, they will take down your message and I will return your call as quickly as I can. That's the number one compliment that thrills me, is when I call a client and they say, wow, that was quick. That's my goal. That lets me know I'm doing a good job returning those phone calls. And one of the biggest complaints you'll hear about attorneys is they don't return my phone calls. So early in my practice, I decided I was going to be extremely fastidious about returning calls. So we try very diligently to return all our calls. So to talk to us at the office, that number, 877-754-6764. Again, to schedule your complimentary consultation, Clearwater, Sun City Center, Sarasota, any of our office locations, 877-754-6764. You can always email me directly, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. That's also the number you call if you want to book us to come out to speak to your club or group on a topic of your choice. But to talk to us today, 877-943-9673, or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, let's go to Tampa and talk to Mike. Mike, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Mike, I didn't realize today's show was going to have sort of a construction theme, but I've noticed that most of the calls have had some sort of construction or contractor, even from the dumpster call that we got, the repossession of a dumpster, which was an interesting call. So anyway, Mike, we appreciate you calling in. How can we help you today?
Yeah. So we entered into a contract for a new build in South Tampa about 3 years ago now. And the house still isn't done. We've had to we hired an attorney that wrote an addendum to the contract that said, they had to meet certain benchmarks by certain dates. And they have not fulfilled those benchmarks. And we're still waiting on a lot of things to get finished up. Do we have any recourse of action? I mean, it's cost us. We're fortunate enough to be able to afford to stay in the house that we were currently living in until this house was done. But our loan for the build had expired 2 years ago now. So we've been paying the full mortgage on that because it was only for a year. Actually, we paid to extend it out of our own pocket. The extension ran out. The bank would only allow one extension. Now we're at the full price of what we would pay for a mortgage on it because it's matured. And the house still isn't done. Some other things have come up. We weren't able to obviously sell our house in South Tampa at the peak of the market because of this house not being ready 2 years ago. so it's cost us financially over the past couple years. And I'm just wondering, is there any recourse of action that we have against the builder?
Well, Mike, first of all, you are triggering me a little bit because my gorgeous wife and I actually went through the custom build process. Now, I will tell you, we did not have the same experience you did, but even when everything goes, and I have to give a shout out to our builder, his Dominic and his beautiful wife, Laura Scarpinato, with Sterling Ridge Properties, did an amazing job building our beautiful home. And so I'm happy to give them a shout out. But any home, and as great as any builder can be, there's still that baseline anxiety where, normally on a day you walk around, maybe your anxiety is like a 2 or maybe a 3. If you're in the middle of a custom build daily, the best you're going to get, in my experience, is about a 7. That's the lowest it's going to be. And there's some days when these wonderful documents called change orders hit your email inbox, it jumps to an 11 some days, Mike. So I feel for you. And 3 years is a long time. Now, how many times in this process have they cited supply chain and the pandemic?
Oh, I mean, we waited on Windows for 9 months that they said they couldn't get, stuff like that. But they didn't do anything else on the project during that 9 months where they could have moved forward because their excuse was they couldn't secure the property.
That's probably true too, Mike, about the Windows. I mean, that you're not the only client or caller that we had about Windows being very tough to find. And I know of one particular situation, they had all the windows except one. So literally they were waiting on a single window to be able to move forward with the CO. Now, your answer about do you have any recourse? Yes. You have a written contract with your contractor, correct?
Yes.
You got to look at the contract. It's going to give you recourse language in there as far as what circumstance you're in, what sort of notices you have to give them if they've breached, and a remedy period more than likely. So get us a copy of the contract, Mike. I'll take a look at it with you and just get you pointed in the right direction, whether or not it's the kind of thing where you still handle it with the builder, if it's the kind of thing where you maybe need to turn it over to an attorney. And hopefully that's not the case, because obviously that will jeopardize your relationship with the builder. But the starting point is just the Four Corners Doctrine. What's the words on those pages of that contract? So get it to me, Mike, and I'll be happy to take a look at it with you and get you some clarification on what your options are.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Good luck with the new home, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of the show today. 877-943-9673. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, and this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I mentioned it at the top of the show, but here, sort of the back half, I do want to mention the website again. So make sure you check us out on our website, attorneypatricksmith.com. You can listen to prior radio show broadcasts. You can listen to all of them. I think we literally have every show loaded up. Our Homestead special we've done, our 4-part series on the overturning of Roe versus Wade, our short-term rental property dispute in Indian Rocks Beach development. All of those are available absolutely free of charge at attorneypatricksmith.com. And again, to be part of today's show, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. All right, next, let's go to Sarasota. We're going to talk to Will. Will, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hey, Patrick, I got a quick question for you. I have a mortgage with a veteran mortgage company, and I found out last month that what they have been doing is several months now, they have added a $25 fee to my mortgage, and I called and asked about it, and they claimed that the purpose for the fee was to send someone around to make sure that I'm still occupying the residence. Now, I call in every month and make the payment. They ask me those same questions. Are you still occupying the residence? Do you have any intention of selling it? And I tell them, no, I'm occupying the residence. Are those fees valid? Is there any way that I can get them dismissed or taken off?
Well, I'm going to answer your question. But before I do, I want to ask you a couple of questions. Number one, on what station are you listening right now?
It's 93.8, I think. I wasn't looking at it. I just turned it on and it came up, to be honest with you.
Close enough. We'll take that. And then number two, I am going to let, with your permission, Will, I'm going to let Max, the intern, answer your question. Now, full disclosure, he is not a licensed attorney. He is a law student, but a rising 2L at the University of South Carolina. So with your permission, and this is how we teach them, we let them take a stab at it under our protective eye, and I will follow up with a properly licensed attorney answer. Is that okay with you, Will?
Absolutely, no
All right.
problem.
Max, the intern, you're up.
You know what's funny is both times that I've been asked to answer one of the questions, it's one of the topics that definitely don't feel comfortable at all discussing. Because my property class, I just took property actually my first year, and the one topic that we didn't discuss more thoroughly was mortgages. But I mean, I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. Obviously, I don't want to say anything that's not accurate.
Right.
But you said it was $25, correct?
Every time they come out, the problem I have is, this is what I told the person when I talked to it on the phone is, I'm here. If you want to find out if I'm still in the residence, just call me and ask me. I'm more than happy to tell you. You don't have to pay somebody to come look.
Right. And I definitely understand where you're coming from. I don't know the legality of it. The only thing that I would probably say is that consulting with an attorney or any remedy that you may have, honestly, would probably be tremendously more expensive than just the $25. So, I mean, I guess if you want to tackle it more on the principle side of it, that
Right.
would be something that would make sense. But in terms of, what the actual legality and the procedure would be, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's a regularly occurring thing now. It happens about every couple of months, and I've still got 20 years on this mortgage.
Well, that's great. I mean, you only have 20 years left is what I'm saying. So
Yes.
Will, this is Patrick. I'm going to take the reins back and I'm going to try to
Okay.
answer. I'm going to try to answer your question and educate Max at the same time. So let's see how we do on this. So the answer to your
Okay.
question, Will, is not far off the answer to Mike, who called about the contractor where they're experiencing this unusual delay in the build and they have a 3-year project ongoing. So Max, where do you think the mortgage company would hang their hat if they're sending him a bill for $25? Do you think they do that just because they decided to?
Most likely not.
Where do you think they've memorialized the power to do that?
In the contract.
Right. So odds are, Will, all that fine print when you signed off on that mortgage note,
Okay.
odds
Yeah.
are in there is the language permitting them to do this. Because remember the old adage, what the large print giveth, the small print taketh away. And that's
I
what
need to read the contract, and I haven't done that.
you would be surprised at how much of my week goes away by reading the contract. And that is really what it comes down to, Will. It's such a simple solution, and people oftentimes just overlook it. They think, well, I've got to send a demand letter or I've got to call an attorney. A lot of times, I'd say probably 50% of the times when it's an issue involving a contract, reading the contract settles it because both parties look at it and say,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't realize that was what we agreed to. That's why you did the contract. So when a dispute arises, everyone knows what the rules are.
And Patrick, I'm glad you're on here because that saved me another phone call.
There you go. We're here to save you time and money. We're happy to help. Okay. Let us know if you get
Thank-
any other development on that. Okay.
I will. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Have a great Saturday. All righty. You're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, 877-943-9673. How's your blood pressure, Max?
It's good.
You did fine.
Yeah.
You did fine. All right. Next, we're going to Gene in Bradenton. Gene, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great, Gene. How can we help?
So, my question is regarding an estate and beneficiary. There's 2 beneficiaries that were assigned to a life policy. The one beneficiary was paying on the policy for the person that passed away because they couldn't afford it, and if they didn't keep paying it, she would lose the benefits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after the person passed away, the funeral expenses were not all paid for. So the one beneficiary took their side of their benefit and paid the funeral expenses. My question is, how can I split the funeral costs with the other beneficiary if they did not know that they were getting a benefit and now they have more of the benefit from the claim than the other beneficiary?
Yeah,
What's legal?
you would have to bring some sort of action in equity, it sounds. I mean, at the end of the day, the life insurance proceeds typically pass outside of the state because it's a third-party beneficiary contract where you contract with mutual of something or other to insure a particular life and then pay to a third-party beneficiary, hence the name third-party beneficiary contract. The debt for the funeral bill is the responsibility of the estate. Well, the life insurance never makes it into the estate because it paid directly to the beneficiaries typically. So I think it'd probably be a situation first, just talking to them casually. Hey, I got stuck with the funeral bill and you got this life insurance. Do you mind splitting that with me, at least to make me whole on my part of the funeral bill that you should have covered? And I think that probably makes it go away. If not, maybe a letter from you saying, look, I don't want to have to, but I can. And then, of course, ultimately, you've got the attorney option to try to remedy that situation, Gene.
So if I go to an attorney, what is it that I need to say? Just what I told you,
Yeah.
or?
Yeah, I would just describe the facts exactly as you did and let the attorney lay out the options for you and then sort of pick your path to success, okay?
All right. Thanks a lot.
All righty. Gene, good luck with this. Keep us posted on how it progresses, okay?
All right.
All righty. 877-943-9673. That is your number for next week's show. 877-943-9673. And of course, we'll be back with you next Saturday to answer all of your legal questions. To reach me at the office during the week, again, that toll-free number, 877-754-6764. Catch us on social media at The Attorney Patrick Smith Show, on Facebook, Attorney Patrick Smith. But to reach us at the office and schedule your complimentary consultation for the Clearwater, Sarasota, Sun City Center, or any of our other office locations, 877-754-6764. 877-754-6764. Stay safe, God bless, and go Gators.
The preceding was sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. W282CI Tampa, W271CY Lakeland, W262CP Bayonet Point.
Online at letstalkfaith.com or listen on TuneIn and Odyssey.
Need a good shot of your favorite pastor? Well, you can get him anywhere and everywhere at oneplace.com and the One Place app. If you missed the daily dose of encouragement you need, find it there. If you want to hear that great sermon one more time, it's all there. We don't encourage you to leave this station, not ever. But when you want a repeat, you know where to go. oneplace.com and the One Place app. No matter what happens, we're always on.
Cornerstone Pros. You don't allow just anyone into your home, and Cornerstone Pros doesn't let just anyone join their team. Cornerstone